everyone, and thank you so much for coming to Bear Clooney Watches channel. I am Bear Clooney, Bear who loves watches. This is my cave, and on this channel we are together searching for perfect timepiece. Frankly, we might never find it, but let's be honest, search can be so much fun. Now, before we start, I wanted to answer a question from a couple of viewers. The question was if I'm featuring on my channel only watches from my personal collection. And simple answer is yes. I find that it is probably the most honest, most genuine, and most direct way to present timepieces which were part of a personal search for a perfect timepiece. Pieces that I genuinely love, appreciate, wear, and understand. That doesn't mean that in the future I will not touch on the pieces that I'm intrigued by or the pieces that I am looking for. However, until now, that's the approach I'm taking. And on the other hand, my collection is not unlimited, so it's inevitable that eventually we'll have to discuss watches which are not part of Bear Clooney's collection. Now, on this path, on this search for the perfect timepiece, it was inevitable, in my humble opinion, to encounter the beautiful Rolex Cellini watch. And on my wrist today is a watch we're going to be discussing and presenting. It is rose gold, white dial, classic Rolex Cellini Dual Time. Rolex Cellini line is maybe slightly most controversial when it comes to any line from Rolex. It kind of divides watch enthusiasts. There are those who are simply not accepting the fact that Rolex can put out a great classic dress watch. And I understand that point of view. Frankly, it's hard to compete in the world of Patek Calatrava and Vacherons and JLCs and so on. But Rolex has a wonderful product in Rolex Cellini line. They're putting a lot of effort in it, and I find them beautiful and of high quality. So even though I can understand the perspective that Rolex is the king of sports watches and what are they doing in classic dress line, Rolex has a long and interesting history in that line. Inspiration for the Rolex Cellini line came from traditional watchmaking practices along with the aspects of modern technology and aesthetics. The Cellini Rolex Prince, which is kind of on what Cellini line is continuation of, was originally produced, it came out in 1928. So there is a heritage, there is a history in Rolex non-oyster classic dress watches. Rolex Cellini had its ups and downs, and I think what Rolex is doing with the Rolex Cellini line in the last few years is quite impressive. They're putting a lot of effort, a lot of attention to it, and I think they're going in the right direction. This watch is, if I am going to use one word to describe it and what it represents to me, just beautiful. So I suggest that we jump into Bear Clooney Watch Studio, take a closer look at this watch, discuss it a little bit, and maybe you'll get a better grasp and understanding why someone could love this watch so much. So let's go. And here we are at Bear Clooney Watches Studio, taking a closer look at this beautiful Rolex Cellini Ever Rose Gold dual date. And if we think about it, until new Rolex Cellini line, if you were looking for a dress watch manufactured by Rolex, forgive me, I'm just going to put this on my wrist so I can show you a wrist presence of this beautiful watch. So as I said, if you were looking for the dress watch manufactured by Rolex, you had two options. The day date that, however, sits in the Oyster collection, which kind of makes it more casual than a proper dress watch, or the Cellini Prince, which is square-shaped timepiece that never had a huge success, although I personally love it. So when the Crown introduced their own vision of a round classical dress watch, the new Cellini collection was born. And this beautiful ever rose gold dual date Rolex Cellini on my wrist, it's showing its beauty and its wonderful presence. And this time it seems that Rolex has everything right. Truly nice design, elegant feeling, complicated but not too complicated movement, superb execution, and relatively justified price. So let's take a closer look at this dress watch from Rolex, which is Rolex Cellini Dual Time Ever Rose Gold reference 50525. In the conservative world of dress watches, it seems that originality is scarce, an issue that you probably already spotted yourself. Most dress watches, forgive me for taking this off, just enjoy the beauty of it. Most dress watches are all very similar in their design and display. Whatever the brand, most have this Calatrava style, meaning round cases polished with a chamfer bezel and straight lugs, and usually a bright dial with 2 or 3 hands and baton applied indexes. Sounds familiar, right? The strength of the 2014 released Rolex Cellini collection is that it is ultimately 100% Rolex, with extra elegance required for this type of watches. Some call these dress watches or tuxedo watches, and without being too Rolex, meaning it's not another Oyster watch, Rolex Cellini is all about details, whether they refer to DNA of Rolex or whether they add a dressy look. And now we're taking a closer look at this watch. Main aspects that change it all: the bezel and overall shape of the case. Rolex Cellini Dual Time features a case made of beautiful, warm 18-karat ever rose gold, which is Rolex's own pink gold, specific alloy that keeps its ever rose pink color longer than normal pink gold. This watch also exists in 18-karat white gold. The overall shape, look at this bubble back style. It's kind of bringing a certain vintage look to this watch, which Rolex is not known for. So the overall shape of the case is quite Rolex, however, with certain details that make it rather different. Of course, kind of, let's say, more elegant. It's like changing just one ingredient in recipe. The main recipe of a Rolex is here, but an ingredient which I'm going to call classical elegance has been added. The center part of the case is faithful to Rolex traditions with straight case bands and integrated lugs. However, lugs are here rather short, slimmer, and more curved, making the case of the Rolex Cellini Dual Time less bulky, softer, and smoother. The second detail that reminds of Rolex without immediately catching the attention is the bezel. New Rolex Cellini features double-step bezel with a coin profile and Bombay shape on the top. This reminds, for instance, the bezel of a Datejust or a Day Date, with their fluted profile, but with something more restrained, more discreet, and a little classier. The Rolex Cellini Dual Time design-wise feels like being a Rolex with something superior in terms of class. The same feeling appears once on the wrist. As you could see earlier, it's not extra slim or super small watch, but it wears superbly. The 39 millimeter is right in the middle between two small dress watches and large sport timepieces, and the 10 millimeter, 11 millimeter profile makes this watch kind of with the right presence on the wrist. Due to a domed caseback, which I mentioned earlier, Cellini feels very smooth on the wrist. That domed caseback, I just keep thinking about it, how it reminds of antique bubble back watches by Rolex. Now, look at this dial. Just beautiful, isn't it? Rolex makes the choice for something quite strong. Guilloche that gives echo to coin bezel. This Rion Flamme de la Gloire pattern is less visible than my video might suggest, and remains very subtle once the watch is strapped on the wrist. It also brings the right dosage of exclusivity and originality compared to all the dress watches with a plain silvery white dial, making the Rolex Cellini Dual Time easily recognizable. Now, as indicated by its name, this watch is Rolex Cellini Dual Time, and it displays second time zone. In a gold circled subdial at 6 sits a second pair of hands that will indicate the home time while traveling. The main hands displaying the local time, or the time in another part of the world. So as you move, as you are traveling, those are the hands that you're going to be moving. The minute hand on this subdial is linked to the main minute hand, meaning that it rotates simultaneously when adjusting the local time, while the hour hand of this second time zone is independent, being adjusted by the crown by 1 hour increments. Linked to this second time zone is a day and night indicator. That's positioned at 9, and it's just so pretty, it's so beautiful. It displays the sun on a bright background for the day and moon on a dark blue background for the night. And this complication allows you to know whether people in a second time zone are in a day or night time, or it simply adds to truly beautiful aesthetics of the watch. Now, inside the Rolex Cellini Dual Time, Everose Gold reference 50525 takes a pure Rolex engine based on a famous caliber 31-32 that is also featured in Bear Clooney's favorite Explorer 1 and in the Bear Clooney's favorite new Oyster Perpetual 39mm reference 114300. What does it mean? Simply, you will enjoy very reliable, precise movement, movement that will last for decades, that will be efficient in every situation, that's not going to be overly expensive to service. This is entirely in-house, self-winding engine. Of course, it's COSC certified, and it takes at 28,800 vibrations per hour, which makes it beautiful and smooth. Now, don't expect high horology details here. This is not the point of the Rolex. The strong focus is always on usability, reliability, durability, and precision, even in a classical timepiece. So that kind of sums up a story about this beautiful watch. And let's go back to Bear Clooney's cave. So I hope you get a better idea why I love this watch so much. Aesthetically, it is just breathtaking in my humble opinion, and I will continue to look at the Rolex Cellini line and further developments because it intrigues me. It is truly interesting, it's beautiful, and I want to see where Rolex goes with it. Once again, I would like to thank you for joining me on this channel. I hope to see you again. If you like this video, please don't forget to click like. If you did not subscribe, please subscribe. And I hope to see you soon again. Have a wonderful day and all the best from Bear Clooney.